Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously.
Son of a lie. I swear.
I swear.
I did it. I promise.
I swear.
Hey, you two geese, just telling me. You didn't even tell me I was on the wrong page. You freaking,
Yeah, right. It wasn't stitch up.
I'm pretty sure what he just did there is going to come up as a lie later on. I swear I did. I promise. I did.
Oh gosh.
Oh, well, listen, just to start again, this week, my wine and Chris's wine did not matter. The two most important wine was Cam and Lou. And so, Cam, it's your turn to present your beautiful wine and tell us the story again for the sixth time.
Come on, Cam. We're 6 minutes in already.
What are we doing?
We're a bit rusty. We haven't had a podcast.
Precise, Teal. Precise.
Oh, come on.
Like a pit stop at the Formula One.
You want to work in a Formula One?
So you did. You mentioned that you either were going to buy a cheap bottle.
Trying to bring it back. Yes. So Here's the thing. This week's the stitch up. Lou and I have to compete. I've just spilled stuff all over my pool table. Thanks for coming.
Hope it wasn't that $1,000 bottle.
I blame you, Hoang. So anyway, whoever loses out of me and Lou this week has to buy everyone else a bottle. So being in the money mindset, which we are all now, life's tough and interest rates. That's why Chris can't afford electricity, air conditioning, and Lou can't afford lights by the look of it because she's sitting in a cave. I had a choice to make. Now, my wife and I give each other an allowance every week, and that's all we're allowed to spend on our own rubbish. It's nothing to do with the family. It's our allowance. So the decision had to be made. Do I go cheap and save some of my allowance because I'm probably going to lose anyway because these guys are prone to cheating?
Oh, lying destroys the liar, Cam, just quietly.
Hey, listen, Lou, and riddle me this. Have you ever seen the results? TL gets on here every week and go, you won, you lost, I won, and finally enough, I've never seen the results. Chris, have you ever seen the results?
That is a point. Anyway, get on with it. Cam, I'm dying of thirst here. Get on with it.
Chris has never seen the results. and
We'll get the result if you want.
TL wins every week. So anyway, I spend every single dollar I am allowed to spend for the week, which means I can't buy a chocolate, a beer, a coffee, or anything.
You don't need chocolate, mate.
To get a 2016 Art Series Chardonnay from Lewin Estate, the Margaret River.
$1,000 a bottle.
Now, 2000, well, in a restaurant probably. In 2016 means at 7 years and being a Chardonnay, this is probably the last year. It's getting close to being overboard. But
So do you not just automatically lose because you failed to meet the brief?
How do you know how much it costs?
It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about
there was no brief.
Criteria was 10 years or older.
Read the messages again, Lou. Said you can do whatever you want. Your criteria was 10 years. You tried to make it that. And I know you tried to make it that because you already had a bottle. You're like, oh, I've got this 10-year-old bottle. Let's make it impossible for everybody else. Criteria was TL wrote 3 times whatever you want. You just chose not to read or to listen.
Anyway,
the Art Series, quite world renowned, 2016. It is a Chardonnay.
Yeah. And
if it doesn't win, I can't be responsible for where the computer ends up. So.
The computer.
Well, listen. There's also a third option, which is you spend all the money on the bottle and still lose. That is the third.
That's what I'm saying. If it doesn't win, which. Again, we won't see the results and TL will probably win.
No. Listen, I'm very honest, so you will know the score. There's no problem.
Honestly speaking, I'm very honest.
Yeah, to be honest with you, you will know the score. All right, come on,
I
swear.
swear on my life.
Yeah, Scouts on it.
No,
Scouts on it. 'cause
seriously, I tell the
Scouts
truth.
have
I
never
swear
been
on Cam's
caught.
hand.
Swear.
The Scouts have never been caught lying. So anyway,
Anyway, okay.
I should win.
I stuck to my brief, which I only got yesterday, Cam, just so you know. So this is a 2013 Shiraz from the Amri Vineyard. So it was planted in the last decade of the 19th century by two brothers, Herbert and Frederick. On the centenary of that vineyard in 1992, to celebrate that, the grandson, who is now in control of the winery, planted
Just tell us the scores.
planted the cuttings off the original vines to celebrate, and off he goes again. Who won? Who won? Come on, Thomas.
What one
All
was
right.
it?
The last person for this week
Hang on.
was Chris.
Yes, Chris.
He barely made it to 3.5, and we know 3.5. There's no way you'll win. Okay. My bottle scored 4.1 average. Apparently, I 4.1. Cam scored 4.4 with his
Wow.
bottle. And Lou, because you're a nice person, you scored 4.0.
Oh,
Yeah! Yeah, walks away with the title.
you can keep your computer.
He's happy. He's happy. He's second last.
Oh, I just held off.
Wow.
I just held off opening it because I'm like, if this doesn't win, I'm taking it back.
Oh my! How much was it? How much was it? Just out of curiosity.
$100.
Okay, it's not too bad then for 2016.
Top score, 4.4, top score.
Good wine.
Good.
And I put
Good.
down a 4.3 to get it. I had a red in my hand that was a 4.3, and I went, I'll just check that, and it was a 4.4, and I went,
Well, I hate to tell you, you only needed a 4.1 to beat Lou today, but anyway.
I could have saved $60.
Well, and you didn't
I
let your
almost beat her.
All right.
chocolates. Anyway, cheers. Let's drink.
Cheers, cheers, guys. Let's get into today. Stop it.
Mm.
Oh, God.
Oh, nice. Very good. We're going straight to topic, or are we going to do a bit of news?
No, we don't have the news. We wasted time. Let's get into topic.
Okay. So very big topic. I'm sure you've all been racking your brains around this one. But the topic this week, which is something that we've all just been doing a little bit of work on with our recent conference in New Zealand, but lying ends up destroying the liar is our topic today. Big one, big one. And I'd be surprised if we had anybody on either side. I would imagine we're all thinking the same thing today. So it'd be interesting.
Okay. Well, Chris, you want to start?
Yeah, I've got more of a question than a statement, though. And I'm thinking about this, and in the finality of the question, saying it, lying destroys the liar. What happens if, and I don't know if this is true, can liars be absolutely oblivious to the fact that they are actually lying?
Yeah.
So we've got pathological liars. Can they absolutely believe that the lies they are saying are true?
Yeah.
If that's the case, only in that circumstance will the lies never destroy the lie, because they're not aware of it. They're actually not aware that they're lying. I think on every other case, it's true. And I was thinking about it today about, how does it work? And when we talk about construction or a tree or the strength of something, we talk about its integrity, right? And when the integrity of a person is, the strength in that person. And I sort of liken it to an axe hitting a tree. You don't know what blow is going to cut the tree down, but every single one counts. And I think it's the same with people who lie that actually know that they're lying. Is they're going to get to a point, I actually think it will destroy them in some way, whether it's, you know, through sickness or through mental health or their lives in general and those around them, destroying those around them. But I think that we'll get to a point where it will destroy the person if they are aware of the fact that they are lying.
Jesus Christ, it's a long answer.
Well, let's start first with the definition, right? Definition of a lie is when you say something that you know is not true. Okay. And to go further into our definition of lies, I think it should be widened to things like when someone tells you A, B, and C, and you choose to delete C because C does not fit your agenda or it does not suit your story, and you only say A and B, that is omitting part of it. That can be construed as a lie. The other bit is also exaggeration or distortion. You know, I caught a fish that is this big, but really nobody saw me do it. Therefore, I bought the fish. I caught a fish this big. That's a distortion. It's also a lie. Addition is also a lie, right? So when someone tells you A, B, C, but you go A, B, C, and D because D also fits your agenda or it's going to serve you, that is also a lie. And the last part is justification. Right, so that's when we say it, but then we go very quickly into explaining why we say certain things, and in there we give a totally different spin to the story. So that also is okay. So let's have that now as a definition, and we can start about it. So
The definition of the.
Sorry.
What's the second part of it is it destroys you. So what's the definition of destruction? What are we going to use for that?
Distortion.
No, destruction. Destruction. The topic is lying will destroy the liar. So we've defined what a liar is. What are we classing as destruction?
Well, I think there's many things. Many things can be destruction. I think over time, the longer a lie is carried and the longer I guess the thing is when you lie in one area of your life, you start to lie in a lot of other areas of your life. And so over time, the longer you carry something that's not true, it leaks out in other areas, and it can be health, it can be mental health, it can be integrity, it can be self-worth, it can be many things.
Yeah, I think that this is where our discussion is over the next 45 minutes, because you may go that direction, Lou, and Cam may go in a different direction. All right. So let's get on to
it would have been 50 minutes, Lou, except Mr. Precision couldn't get his.
But he swears it was one and was.
Did it? I swear.
I still swear it was one in wisdom.
Honestly,
distortion, dilution, addition. How big was the fish, Thomas? How big was the fish?
This big.
No, serious. People should not touch my computer or my
I think blame is blame one of the stress responses to being caught.
No. The truth is that I stuffed up. The blame is not the alarm. Blame is pointing a finger. That's all right. So let's have a look. We have two types of lying, obviously lying to others and lying to ourselves. And in both cases, I think the lie ends up being destroyed. I think that's the discussion. For me, if I could answer Chris's question, which is, can lie be oblivious to their lives? Sometimes they will be oblivious, but quite often they also know that they're doing it. This is the bit, right? So when you first start telling the lie, you know it's a lie, but then you tell a second person, then you tell a third person, you know, and a lot of people who are, especially in America, the richer you are, the poorer your story at the start of your life should be. So they tell a story, a person believes it, they retell the story, and after 3-4 years, they actually believe that this is the story of how they should have started their life. And so now they really believe in it. It's like everything. The more you repeat, the more you'd want to believe it. But in the beginning, you don't necessarily believe it.
Mhm.
I think we've got to, I think a lot of people, maybe some people listening, everyone lies every day. And it could be in passing, a simple question, how you feeling? Oh, I'm fantastic. And you're not so good. So we've got to, acknowledge that everyone lies every day, whether than to themselves or to others. And generally speaking, they're harmless, in general societal lies. I was looking into it, and the body releases a hormone for stress called
Cortisol.
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 You looked into it so well.
Mate, just because you didn't do any research, don't pick on me, right? So, and that suppresses your immune system, and it gets to a point where that immune system obviously is going to, destroy your health. The lack of that immune system. So, continually lying physically is going to destroy you. Forget about the mental or the social aspect. Physically. So I don't know, causing cancer. I couldn't find anything if there's a direct link. I didn't get enough time, but
no, but hold on. How can a lie, if you want to truly believe it, how can a lie really create cortisol?
As we just said, the majority of people know they're lying. Majority of the time. I think those who don't realize they're lying is the minority. If we're talking the majority, I think the majority of people know when they're lying. Whether it's a salesperson or someone to a spouse or whatever it may be, I think the majority of people know when they're actually lying. But the other factor is, the more you lie, the less effect it has on you. Even though you still may know you're lying, your body gets used to that stress level. Like I suppose a fighter pilot, when they first go up in a plane, their stress level will be huge. At the end of it, they're probably very, very calm up there.
Okay, we got a few more minutes here, so let's have a look at when is a lie harmless?
The size of the fish you caught.
Look, when it's I couldn't find another word for it, but you're telling the kids Santa's coming and the Easter Bunny and all that sort of stuff.
Jesus Christ, man! Jesus.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it was a lie.
What are you doing?
And
Fine, mine are 16.
The other one, as I said earlier, was how you're feeling and so forth. I think those ones, I think they're acceptable, right?
I personally believe that a lie is harmless if it is going to induce a positive emotion or feelings in the other person, and it is not going to destroy anything else.
It makes me actually think that, sorry, Thomas, you carry on.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, it actually made me think back, and I was trying to really remember a situation when it was that the lie was harmless, because it was actually Serena Williams' coach, and his name escapes me right now, but after she, that's him. So after she injured herself, she play, and she wasn't playing fantastic. And long story short, what he said to her in the break was, "You have the best backhand or whatever it is." I can't remember the exact serve. So she took that on board. So she took that on board with 100% belief, and she in the end turned around, and because she was told that, she believed that, but the actual truth was she didn't have the best backhand or whatever it was in the game right then. But because somebody that she respected told her that and said, "This is what the computer tells me," she believed that and she took that on. And so in that instance, I suppose a lie can be harmless.
Yeah, but what if she then was told by Patrick Mouratoglou, or saw the video or saw the film, and then realized, the bastard, he lied to me. Now, is that harmless, or any of his advice now is going to be second guessed by Serena?
We're all parents, right?
Yes.
Isn't the biggest lie in life when we tell our kids you can be anything you want to be?
That's not a lie, because anything is anything.
Anything you want to be. So
it's possible.
7 foot.
And you can cover that. So if the kid can't get there, the kid didn't want it bad enough.
7 foot tall basketball player can be a jockey. We know that can't happen. No, I'm serious.
Right.
There obviously there are restraints in that sort of statement.
We've
But,
talked
yeah.
about that before in the podcast, telling your kid they can be absolutely anything they want to be. We've all said. So if we're now going to go back on our word, do we now not think that's crap? Because we've all on the record here of saying that's crap previously.
I think we've all back up that statement with, as long as you put the work in to achieve that, whatever you want to be.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
we've all, you know,
I think
agreed
you're
that
covering for a lot.
statement we follow that up with, right? So,
Yeah.
but you are right in that sort of saying, Cam. We do try and instill that belief into our children. I think it was Einstein's mum who was told by his teachers that the kid's an idiot. And she turned around to the kid and said, the teachers tell me you're really smart. He changed the world with his mind.
It was, I don't think it was Einstein. I think it was Thomas Edison.
So, you
Yeah.
know,
Okay, right.
in the videos, TL, that we've been watching lately with Jordan Peterson, and his, to summarize it quickly or broadly, is that it doesn't matter the lie. The minute that you start, whether it's the fish or enter or anything, it starts to form a pathology in your brain, that a neural connection that leads you down that path. Yes. So if he is correct in that, no matter how small it starts, then none of them are harmless. Yes. Maybe to other people, but to yourself, if it's starting to form a neural pathway, okay, I just got away with lying about how big the fish. Listen, I've lied about just about every try I've ever scored in rugby league. They're always longer, faster, and beat more people. Look at me, I'm an athlete, right? But if Jordan Peterson is correct, and I know I made a very basic summary of what he's saying, if any thought of an untruth is starting to form a pathology or a muscle memory or a neural connection in our brain towards that, then no lie can be harmless. Might be harmless to the person you're telling it to, but then it isn't to you.
I think that also that with Cam is more so to the, you tend towards that fact if you know you can get away with that lie. You build those pathways in your mind to go towards that escape route.
No, but he's saying that the minute you do it, the minute you think that way, and he uses the example of lying in a test or doing an exam to get to what a teacher needs, you have trained yourself in an untruth down the line. So,
No, but Cam, you're talking about self-deception. It's very different. So if Patrick Muratoglu told Serena, your serve, I mean, whenever you go to the net, your volley is just so many percentage win, and that's where it stopped. I think he may have created something positive in her now where she believes it, all right? And so as long...
what about the effect on him?
Sorry?
What about the effect on him and what other...
There's no effect on him because that information is about what it did for her, right? The only effect in him is that he's probably going to reason it by saying, I didn't even do it for my own gain. I did it to help someone, just as much as when my brother had leukemia and I went back to Belgium. I sat down with some people with whom after 5 minutes of discussion, I could see, you have got a program that is negative. It's going to be very hard for you to get out. But I couldn't say that. These people are in the cubicle fighting for their life. And so this is where you have to balance. Is this, am I going to tell them the truth, or am I going to tell them something that I know may not be necessarily true, but if it can give them that one iota of belief to fight to live, why not? And so in this respect, we can't just categorically say that lies are bad. But now let's go into why it does destroy a lie. And I want to start with this so that it gives you a cue. I believe that in the end, not only because a lie would destroy a lot of things. When I catch someone lying to me, I know straight away I can't believe anything else that you're going to tell me from here on. But I believe that for a person who self-deceive themselves or lie, there is no chance for inner peace.
Yeah.
Is no longer inner peace because you now, first of all, I always say this, the first person you lie to, whoever you lie to, the first person is yourself, because you know that was not the truth.
Yes.
Therefore, you already disrupted that inner peace. It's not congruent with the right person, because the person we are is we try not to we try to live with neutral emotion between lying and telling the truth.
You know,
But then it starts also to take effort from you. I tell a lie, I have to remember the lie. To undo the lie, I have to spend now twice the amount of energy to undo it, all right, and to understand it. And so, therefore, by lying, I'm starting to invest more and more energy into the lie. And at some stage, to keep that lie going, I have to invest even more. At some stage, it is unbearable. At some stage, I'm going to stuff up somewhere. And now it's like a house of cards. It starts to crumble.
Can I suggest, and completely underestimate all our audience and anyone we're talking to. So send all your hate mail to Louise at winewasn'tasgoodascams.com.au. You talk about inner peace, Thomas, and I think the layman, most people, that's such a very spiritual term, but two, such a distant achievement, or one that most people aren't even looking for, that I don't even know if saying lying will give you, you won't be able to have inner peace, will have any effect on the majority of the population. If you said lying will lose you Instagram followers, or lying will lose you Facebook followers, or lying will turn your hair grey, age you 100 years in 5, and destroy your liver, your lungs, and everything about you, then maybe people start to pay attention. But to start it in peace, you know, we're superficial beings, right? So the effect of lying at the moment, the most superficial, you get caught lying, you're in trouble somewhere. You get caught. The ongoing effect, physiologically, is it enacts stress, and you talk about the effort it takes to maintain them. That's a lot of stress, right? That's a lot of stress. The effort to maintain a lie, remember a lie, and all that. I mean, we should lose weight. Really, you should lose weight, not put it on, because the amount of effort, you should be burning more calories. But I think inner peace is a distant goal.
No, I don't think. I'm sorry, Luke.
I was just going to say, I totally disagree with what you're saying there, Cam, in terms of not.
It's been a while. Welcome back. We're back.
Let's
go. Let's go.
But look, I think totally in line with what Thomas is saying and what Chris said as well, we say sometimes little, what we would call a white lie. Yeah, your hair looks good today. You're saying that to be nice. There's the small things, and then there's the big things where you delete, distort, or exaggerate, or, you know, what Thomas was saying earlier, when you know that you are willingly disregarding the facts or the truth to arrive at a conclusion that you know is harmful or wrong or going to hurt somebody. That's a big lie. But at the end, at the very core of who we are, whether we're doing a big one or a small one, we know in ourselves that we're not doing the right thing. And personal integrity is so necessary for human beings to move forward with personal progress. And ultimately, what are we all looking for is happiness at the end of the day. But psychologists show, and psychology shows, that if you don't have personal integrity, you will not progress to personal progress in life. Therefore, the gap between who you show yourself to others and how you feel inside widens, you know, because you, be little or big, you're not being authentic. And
no, I'm not going to disagree with you, Lou. That wasn't the point. What I'm saying is, if we're trying to talk about the real reason you shouldn't do it is because you'll never find inner peace, that's going to be so far, it's too many layers. There's so many layers between where most people are and even thinking about inner peace, that I'm not going to disagree with anything you just said. We know it to be true, but we've also been lucky enough or privileged enough to be in a situation where we've had our eyes open to this stuff more often.
Yeah.
You know, let's put it this way. When I talk about the inner peace, I'm talking about when you feel a sense of inner peace, there is an absence of guilt, there's an absence of anxiety, there's an absence of fear of being found out, fear of whatever it is. There's an absence of negative feelings. There's no simmering feeling of frustration or negative emotions. That's probably inner peace. Okay, so let's put it this way, so to make it easy for people. But to
Yeah.
go
You can rest. You can at least rest. You can rest. At the end of the day, you can rest.
Conscience, clear conscience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that the layman will understand that now. The thing that I really would like to talk about, the social media, and I think that you touch it pretty well. Social media has made it very easy for people to lie these days. Okay.
Mhm.
We've seen a number of people who got thousands of followers and show like themselves in nice bikinis in nice hotels, and then they go back to a little caravan somewhere in the back of a wood. It actually also, social media has also trained people in the art of lying. It's how many of us, how many of us take a picture of ourselves and then maybe if we Photoshop and we get to that level, you know, at the beginning, and in the beginning, we might just, put a picture like this. Someone tells us, wait, it didn't look really good. You should do this. And then they start doing this.
Mate, these ads are real and I won't have anything said against it.
Mate, I tried Photoshop. I look like a transvestite, so I won't do that again. So.
Prove it.
And I think that social media in the end weakens people into adopting lying.
The problem with social media is, you're right, people don't see what's on the cutting room floor. They only show the highlights. And it comes down to what you're saying before about one of the big parts of lying is deletion. They're deleting that crappy part of their life and only showing the action. And then even some of it, as you said, is not even real part of their life. They've hired the car, they've hired the penthouse, and so forth.
And we have seen how many people have we seen committing suicide at some stage, and yet they had so many followers, they had such a great life. How many people get into drugs, prostitution, and all these things in order to have the money to keep that image going? I mean, people do a lot of silly things, and I think that this is where lies take you. Ultimately, your ego takes over, and that is the beginning of your destruction. When your life cannot be in your own hands, but it in the hands of your ego, it is the beginning of your self-destruction.
Do you think social media has made lying more acceptable too?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we're all desensitized to it now, and now it's twofold. One, it's more acceptable, and two, we've forgotten how to call it out. Like we don't know how to read it as well, because we're all it's more acceptable, which means more people do it. Right? Oh well, if he's full of shit, then I can be full of shit, and it won't matter. Okay, everyone. And what we've done is created a world where it's okay to be full of shit, and people are making millions and millions of dollars off being full of shit. So, you know, and then that flows on to everyday life. Unfortunately, they bring it into the workplace, they bring it into their personal relationships, they bring it into absolutely everything. If catching that big fish that you didn't really catch got you 40,000 likes, oh, well, I got away with that. So from now on, you're a gun fisherman, and the next bloke can do the same thing. It's
yeah, exactly. And
unfortunately, it's made it more acceptable. Not only easier to get away with, but more acceptable to do.
But I still believe it destroys a person doing it in the long run.
Yeah, it does, because you never know. You know, the minute, Chris, you said before, a pathological liar doesn't know. They had to start off somewhere. So they started off by knowing, right? And you know, our bodies are fairly wonderful things. We know the minute that something that comes out of our mouth, whether it is something as inane as Santa or as important, there's a feeling inside us that knows what comes out of our mouth, and that feeling is generally guilt. But over time, you'll to get to a pathological stage, you'll have built barriers against that feeling.
yeah,
and that's where it comes into a point where, based on the readings, but based on real life examples that I've actually seen, you end up believing that is your world. You don't actually believe that anything you're saying is, but you've done so much damage to yourself through either you've lied all day, so you've come home and drank all night, because that's an easy way to forget the lies. You know, you've lied all day, so you come home and put whatever you need to up your nose to cover off. You've created this persona, and the wall that goes between that, you end up in a reality. The problem is your body dies the whole time, because those same people that I've seen, they're dying. rotting from the inside out. It's very, very sad to see. In their brain, they don't believe it's a lie anymore. I don't think they believe it's a lie anymore. But their body's telling them day in and day out.
It's something that
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to really know in the end, because we're not there, right? So we've not experienced it. We really don't know if they do or if they don't. So it's
But
hard to
I think what Cam said, what you both said, like it obviously starts off small somewhere. And I think that's the key thing there. Nobody, well, not that I know, is born a pathological liar, but it starts as a small lie, and then that translates into all other areas of our life to which our then character is built upon. And so I think a person will get to a point of starting small, becoming a pathological liar. Their character is then built upon that. They don't necessarily know or are oblivious to their lies because their whole life has been a lie. But going back to the social media thing, an interesting thing that I read was, and look, one of the things, you know, I'm always saying it like a broken record to my kids and other people, not everybody is who they post to be. Because, you know, everybody's watching Instagram, everybody's watching Facebook, YouTube, all this stuff. And I constantly remind, you know, not everybody is who they post to be. Like Thomas said, yeah, they're in a penthouse 1 minute and then they go back to their real life. They're living in a caravan in the bush. But our capacity as human beings for dishonesty is as fundamental to us as our need to trust others. Therefore, ironically, we're hopeless at detecting lies these days. You know, that's the thing. There's 60% of people lie, you know, and it's a little lie, big lie, but we just don't detect it a lot of the time these days. And so it's a really weird thing, isn't it? Like, you think,
More than 60%.
Sorry?
We all lie. It's more than 60%. There's studies that have done that showed 60% of people lied in the first 10 minutes. But
that's right.
We've already said it.
I don't think there's
it takes very strong character not to lie. And I think we can make that decision. It is possible to make that decision. Now there's little lies such as, sure, you know, telling your wife that she looks exactly the same as the first day you met her when she was 18. I mean,
dinner tastes great.
But it's a beautiful lie, because and sometimes it's not even a lie, because if your eyes are hypnotized by that picture of your wife, then why not? Well,
that was a good
I think
good
I was just reading about a study where people vomited when they lied to you.
No, you guys been using the term pathological lies. We need to clarify. There's compulsive lies, people who lie all the time. And those people, when you catch them, they go, yeah, I know I was lying, but I can't help it. They just want to win the game. Okay. Then there's the pathological lie who, in order to survive some trauma in their past, had to resort to this. So, for example, and again, this is nothing political because we are in Australia anyway, but Donald Trump, I believe, had to survive Fred Trump, the father. And Fred Trump was punishing his older brother every day. Every time that there was something bad, he could see that Fred Sr. hated weak people. And so Donald started to tell stories. And as he told stories, he realized that, hold on, Dad likes me this way. And so in order to survive not being punished the way that his brother was, he had to resort to using a very different weaponry. And I think that, so unless we deal with the trauma with these people, we can't really help them. I mean, I've seen people who, when they were younger, were totally compared against their younger siblings. The mother apparently preferred the younger siblings, so they start telling and constructing a story to defend themselves, because you have to make sense with yourself, otherwise you can't survive the life you have. All right, but let's go back to the destruction of lies, because people are probably wondering, all right, if I'm lying, I mean, I've seen people who lie and get rich. That's not destructive. And this is what I would like to really recognize, that destruction is not necessarily about financial destruction. Destruction could be the destruction of your self-integrity. Destruction could be the destruction of the map that you use to live in the world. The destruction could be also the social destruction of your entourage, because people have to choose whether they want to hang around you or not. Right? And so if they don't want to hang around you, you have destroyed that. So that's the destruction that I think, or I propose to look at. So can I just ask you guys now, because I've given 2 or 3 now. So in what way do you think lying will end up destroying the liar?
I think what people do is they rationalize their lies or what they perceive to be true to avoid the inner conflict that they have within themselves. And I think, you know, they become obsessed with their lies to the point where they actually believe their lies so much. And then in the long run, it erodes our self-esteem, our self-concept, our self-view, our self-worthiness, how we see each other. And going back to a little bit what I said before, the self that we show others, but then the true self of how we actually feel as a human being, which is, you know, I think we're all in some way who we are to each other. In a certain situation, like let's use our what we do for work. Not that you change who you are, but when you're in a listing appointment, you become a slightly different version of yourself, a more professional version or whatever, which is what we do to survive. That's what we do for a job. But if you're somebody that tells lies, that is bending the truth and purposely deleting, distorting, and whatever else, then that has to erode and destroy who you are authentically as a person, and that then affects every other area of how we think about ourselves. And does that make sense? Am I going around?
No, you're starting to sound like Jordan Peterson. Like the more I listen to you, the less I understand. but it sounds good though, Lou, which is fantastic, because it now questions my ability to follow you. But
I think one of the things is,
I guess what you're saying is, I understand. There's, for example, a true story, a lady who was in sales and she wasn't doing enough. She was just doing enough to justify her salary. And she did it for quite a few months. And then suddenly one day, a good performer joins the team. And he starts to stay later, and she noticed that he stays later. So she's now trying to get him to her self-view. So she goes, you shouldn't stay here past 5:30. You should go home. Why? Because if you can destroy that person's view of the industry, your self-view is intact. And so when she tried, the other person was strong enough to realize, no, if I want to become wealthy, I understand I have to pay with effort. And so that person starts to really work hard. And now it removes the hiding spot for this person here who's been lying to themselves for quite a few months. And in the end, that person left the industry.
Yes. And that's what I mean. Like people do this to avoid the inner conflict. Like she could grow or be better or do more, but you know what I mean? And why do people lie ultimately? They want to elevate themselves and put the other person down. It's a survival mechanism. You know what I mean? It's a I don't know. Who else has got something?
well, I think another effect of lying is, I think people that are liars emit a certain energy. And I think we like who we are like. And I think the continuation of lies and really starting to live those lies push people away from you and not attract them.
I disagree with you, man. I have been surrounded by so many lies, and I have loved them all, and I've heard by many of them. So no, it's not true.
But in the long run, are those people still in your life?
No, in the long run, once it's off, I cut.
But that's probably where I'm getting at, is in the long run, While in the short term, but in the long run, it gets to a point where those people are alone.
Okay, in the long run, after 2 or 3 decades, yes, I get it. All right, my next one, I think that lying weaken your psychological strength to admit to the truth. So to give you an example, analogy, if I went to the gym and instead of pumping what I'm capable of pumping, which is 200 kilos bench.
Hang on, if you went to the gym, right? Not
Yeah.
when you went. Okay, so we're not
very good. So instead of doing 200 kilos, I'm actually doing with 2 pens. Well, after a little while, my muscles will atrophy. They will not be able to handle the heavier weight. And I think that lying is that the more you show your responsibility to the truth and avoid it, the weaker you are to handle the truth.
Yeah, I think too, like lying motivates people to rationalize to themselves their behavior and to justify that to remain good or to look good. But then when you've morally disengaged from the situation, you've set your whole foundation upon a lie, and that then there was somewhere in something that I read, they did a study where a whole bunch of people, and they actually got them to simply just wear a pair of counterfeit sunglasses for a period of time. And the time went on to a point where the people actually started to feel less authentic in themselves, because not that they were actually verbally doing anything or going out to hurt anybody. They simply were told to wear a pair of counterfeit sunglasses for a period of time. And just knowing that they had fake sunglasses started to eat away at their own self-belief of who they were and their own authenticity. So just that in itself can show you that that's just a fake pair of sunnies. And that's a small thing in the whole scheme of things, but that's just the small effect of a pair of sunnies.
How do we convince? So we're in an industry that's full of lies, right? And we're in an industry where lies get rewarded.
I think you are. I'm not, man.
We're in an industry that's full of lies, and we're in an industry where lies get rewarded very, very, very handsomely, right? How do you talk to a 20-year-old kid who's just getting in the industry and keeps losing listings to someone who's gone in and told a vendor $300,000 more than their house is worth, $1 million more than their house is worth, gets the business, and sure, the listing sits there for a while, but at the end of the day, they get a sale. How do you convince, and then listen, when we're 20, when we're 19, stuff you're in a piece, mate, I just want money, 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 right? And no one can be begrudged for that. That's their stage in life, and that's where they're at. So, man, if I keep going out here every day and I've got to train every day and I've got to do all these calls when really all I've got to do is go out and bullshit to someone about how much their house is worth, why don't I just do that for a while? I'm going to get paid very, very well in the short term and even in the long term. Look, even like you could do that for 10 years in real estate, people still do it. I don't know how they keep getting away with it, but they do. So how do we go, oh, look, in 30 years, you're not going to have any friends and your health's not going to be very good and you'll have trouble sleeping. And they don't give a shit. They want a commission check.
So hold on. You're asking a few questions. Do you want to know how to convince a 20-year-old or do you want to convince the liar?
Well, a 20-year-old not to join the party, because when you're surrounded by them, right, we're all in markets, okay? And I can say confidently that 70% of the people I compete with, I walk in and the vendor's been lied to if they've been in before me, at least 70%. Okay, I was going to say 80, but I reckon at least 70.
Yeah.
So, and the easy thing to do, and what most people do is join that party. That's why it's 70%. 7 out of 10 agents will go, that seems a lot easier than sitting down in front of someone and presenting for 2 hours and trying to convince them that you're better than the guy who's just told them their house is worth $500,000. Why wouldn't they join the party? Because at 20.
Very, very good question, Cam. However, it's a very old question that's been solved many, many times. What you have to do is to just become better than the lie. You have to become.
It's too easy, TL. I want my money. I want my money.
No. So first of all, you have to speak a very different language. You don't have to go down to that style of language you just used. So you have to use a different language that is mesmerizing, that is also transferring more trust. Number two, if the young, if the 20-year-old does not have the strength, the inner strength, but is still imprisoned by his ego, it will take a little while before he gets out of his own jail. So you can't do anything. So in respect to the young 20-year-old, I would say that the student, until he is ready, will never listen to the teacher. Okay, so he needs to go on the road of poverty for a little while. When it comes
to poverty, because the lying is working. That's what I'm saying. The lying is working.
No, but
he's lying.
He will be destroyed. He will be destroyed because he will have no room in our business, right? So, or any good business. So that's one. Number two, really, you just have to become better. Mate, real estate is as old as prostitution, right? It's sales. And in sales, there's always two poles. You have the poles of telling the truth, no matter what, and become better and better skilled, and the poles of telling lies. This is as old as prostitution, what you're asking. So do you think that in my days when I was listing, there was no lies around me? And I love them. I love them because at least they came to me as a known quantity. And so all I had to do was to become so much better and set landmines against their behavior. Thank you for coming. And when they started to lie, my seller used to think, yeah, I was warned about this. This is funny that this guy is doing this. So I would say that maybe the young dude did not do landmines.
But hang on, just 2 seconds, because the real answer, I believe, is this. When I started real estate, I was broke.
It was about you. I forgot that the real answer, like.
No. But I was broke and I had to make money. And it would have been really, really easy to jump on the bandwagon and just lie to get the money. And I probably would have made some money, but what I wouldn't have done is slept very well at night.
Oh, you're talking about inner peace.
I'm talking about inner peace, TL.
We did.
Let me bring it back round, brother. Let me bring it back round.
I think
that's what I'm saying. You can jump on the bandwagon, and we all had a choice. We all here had a choice. We can jump on the bandwagon. We can lie and cheat and steal our way to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and even millions of dollars, because that's what the real estate can do for you. Or you can sleep at night.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the choice. That's the choice. And that's.
Inner peace is more than sleeping at night, brother.
That's a start, man. That's a start.
Inner peace is that ocean or that calm waters that you transfer to your own children.
Yeah.
If you are not in a state of inner peace, how can your thought be really balanced for your children?
That's right.
It's just more than just resting at night. It actually seeps through all of, it is the color, it is that background color that colors your entire canvas for any offspring or relationship that comes on top of it.
Exactly. And listening to what you were saying, I was thinking, we just need to breed better people and instill the values and the true meaning of values. Breed better people. Well,
hey, listen, Hitler tried that. It didn't go.
Listen. What I mean is we all have, as parents, the opportunity to instill values and integrity into our children. Yes, Cam, you're 100% right. Everybody's going to get to a fork in the road at some point in their life where they've got to choose to be honest, or they've got to choose to be a liar or tell a white lie or bend the truth or whatever it is. And yes, depending upon the circumstance and depending on where they're at in life, they're going to make that decision. But we as people can't do anything about that. But they, as who they are, making that decision, have to live with that decision. And in the
thing in real estate, unfortunately, in real estate, it's a huge. attrition rate with people coming into the
Yeah.
industry, right?
Yeah, I
And
know. But
they won't
at the
stay in
end
our
of that,
offices. If they're like that, they won't stay in our offices.
that's exactly right. They won't stay in
And then
our office.
they can go to the competition.
That's right, they can. And what we know is, and thankfully we've been privy to a lot of the information, is people can read generally through the bullshit at the end of the day, you know, and an owner's going to sit there and make a decision. You know, some are going to be blindsided by the fairy floss and rainbows and higher dollars and all the rest of it. But, you know, people can generally read through the bullshit, I suppose.
Yeah, but guys, so what is another form of distraction that lies will just cop? I've given 5.
Become the prime minister. They'll become the the treasurer, the defense minister.
All right, I'll give a 6th one. I think that lies will sabotage their own life. They sabotage. And sabotage means you're building things you think that are building it right. But at some stage, there is that block that will just be removed and the entire castle will crumble.
House of Cards.
I think another one too, Thomas, is we hide not only our secrets and tell our lies, but then we build, because we've created a story within our head about a situation, a person, this happened and didn't, and all the rest of it, we then build resentments towards other people and other things and other situations. And then that resentment breeds anger, frustration, guilt, and guilt that could have been easily avoided by just telling the truth then becomes shame. And then when it becomes shame, it becomes a whole nother thing, you know. And so it's the entire destruction of your character.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I like it.
On the back of that, they probably get caught in a loop and they'll never have the opportunity to really reach their potential and grow.
Okay. All right, let's have a look at, so what is our conclusion? Someone is a compulsive lies. And this is a funny thing, you know. I know that there's a survey by the University of Wisconsin that's been doing research on over 100,000 people, and they came up with the fact that 75% of people lie up to 2 times a day. And so hence I have embarked in the last 2 years, because I'm a highly gullible kind of dude, into the understanding of how people lie to you and when they do it. And one of the things that I have realized for lies, and I've shared that even with a lot of friends, when you lie, even successfully, that doesn't mean that the other person believes you. So you have to, so this is where the liar makes a mistake. He lies thinking, oh, well, I told a lie and the other side's bought it. No. Your lie may be good in your eyes, but that doesn't mean that's been bought. Right?
Yes.
And when you started to understand it, then you go, hold on, out of 10 lies that I've said, how many were bought? Because one of my favorite things now with lies is I like to ask, I have a game I do now with lies, which is to ask them a question about their lie. Because I know that's going to send them into a frenzy of sleepless nights, thinking about how they have to construct a new reality to withhold that house of castle that is crumbling. And I love that because they lose sleep and they have to think over their lives twice, 3 times, 4 times over. And I'm sleeping like a baby.
That's it. And,
one way lies
just,
will destroy you is Thomas will torture you. He will torture you.
Yeah. And I think going back to a little bit of what we said before, lying allows a person to establish perceived control over a situation. Therefore, they can manipulate it if they think they're in control of it. But I think people do that ultimately because as a human being, one of the hardest things to be is vulnerable. And people will avoid that at all costs, you know. And so if I continue the lie, I can continue to control or manipulate the situation or have this perceived control or whatever over the situation. And it's all just to avoid being seen for who they really are, you know, and that's the real shame about it. But yeah, it's like having a plant that wants to grow, but you put it in a small pot like the size of this, and then you determine its growth. That's how I look at it, you know, like, yeah, that's what you're doing to yourself.
So
They're using it as armor.
I'm sorry?
They're using those lies as armor, and it protects
That's right.
some shortcomings of themselves. The ability if they can't do something, they feel they're not good enough. Maybe they need to read a book. NGE.
Thanks for the plug, man. So what would be, so the conclusion, we believe that the ability in a lie decreases, but also their mental strength, and obviously the social entourage will dwindle. So what would be, let's leave now with an antidote or solution for people who are lying, because they are people in our closest entourage who will just lie, because a lie will do two things: try to come across as a hero or try to come across as a victim. So what will be an antidote that you guys have thought of that could help those people let go of the need to lie? I mean, I can think of my father. I mean, the look of my father, and then I go, mate, you don't want to go there. So let me start first, so that gives you a bit of time. I think that the best antidote for lies are three things. One,
He's going to take three of them. They were my three.
one is to use silence. I think that silence is not just good for meditation or remaining calm or regaining calm or listening to your internal soul. I think that silence is very good when you are hit with the envy to lie. When you catch yourself wanting to lie because you want to come across as a hero and wanting the other person to hear you and like what you just done, it's just to shut the F up. Because
Say it. Sorry, what does F mean in your language?
I don't know. What does it mean, Ken?
I don't know. What does it mean, Thomas?
It means Ken.
What does it mean?
So number two,
Hungry, Thomas. What does it mean? I'm hungry.
Number two, it means family. So number two, you need to work on yourself, because quite a lot of people lie because they still haven't made peace with their childhood. There are things in their childhood that has happened to them and has driven them to doing that, right? So there's people who hate not being a hero anymore because they used to be a champion rugby player or champion tennis player, and
I did both very well. I've got the trophies. I've got the trophies. They're just over there.
And I think that number three for me is you have to get a mastermind group. Someone or some people who are going to say that is not acceptable, because every single time you get that, you now need to question: does the person love you? If the person loves you, so what about the advice? And do I want to go to a state where of what they have and what they have with their family and their children, how the children behave, or do I want to have what I'm creating? And that mastermind group is so crucial. And a lot of people, they don't like a mastermind group that criticize them, because that disturbs their ego. And remember, lying is the realm of ego. After all, ego constantly lies to you to chain you. That's mine.
Nice.
Mine is, I don't know if it's an antidote, more of a mindset. You got to keep reminding yourself, no one gives a shit. No one gives an F. Right?
What is it? Give a what? A family?
No one gives a no one gives a focaccia.
A focaccia.
Yeah.
Fly across.
Well,
I think there's a level to these things. One thing we might have brought out today is there's levels to these things, from the fish you've caught to deep-seated pathological soul-destroying lies. There's a level to this thing, but for the most part, in the level, because I don't know too many pathological lies. I know a few, but not too many. You got to keep reminding yourself, no one gives a shit. Most of us lie for the applause or for the clap or what they think the other person thinks of us. And what we keep forgetting is that they're too busy thinking about themselves to give a shit about you. And it's not really an antidote, because to get to that point is very, very hard. It's something I struggle with constantly. But if you could write everywhere and nowhere that no one gives a shit, then you might be heading in the right direction, because all the Facebook, all the social media, the fish you caught, the try you scored, into bigger things. No, but into bigger things. No one cares, because they're all too busy worrying about themselves.
Nice. That leaves Chris and Lou. Oh, yeah?
I'll leave ladies to.
Yeah, Chris needs more time.
If you do lie, if you are listening and you do lie, I'd say to you, you can make the choice to stop. It's a decision. And you know when you're doing it, you can make the choice to say, now you don't have to fall on your sword to go and confess your sins to everyone. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is just make that decision not to lie anymore, or try, and you don't even have to tell the truth, just try not to lie, as Jordan Peterson says. But in that, the energy that it takes to lie, take that and put it into yourself to be better. That would be the biggest piece of advice I can give you.
Nice.
You came strong. I was going to hammer you for your opening statement, but
just give it to him, man.
His opening statement was, a lot of people don't even know when they're lying, and now you're saying you've got.
That's not what I said.
So if they don't know they're doing it, how can they choose to stop, Chris?
That's not what I said. You talk about intelligence. That's not what I said, dude.
Before we talk about destruction, I don't.
Listen, shut the fakasha up and listen for a second.
I don't think they know what they're doing. By the way, while you don't know what you're doing and you're completely oblivious to everything you're doing, just stop.
Not what I said.
Just stop it.
I asked you how many people do not know that they're lying.
They're going to put a clip together, and it's going to be your first.
Oh my God!
And they're going to.
Lou, what do you think? Shut him up, please.
Chris, be nice. Chris, be nice. Because you see the 3 triangles there and behind.
2 of them are pointing at one.
I'm still looking for the 2 triangles that lie, because they said they're not a triangle. So please be kind to Cam.
They all identify as triangles, and that's.
You can't see the tree to the forest.
All right. The lady of the house will close.
Okay.
20 seconds or less.
Okay. I look.
18, 17.
Listening to what you've all just said, you know, I think the most important thing and the most rewarding and greatest journey that I have been on myself as a human being is the journey to myself. That's not an easy one. It's a long one. It involves understanding and accepting of loving of who we are. And I think at the end of the day, like what Chris said, choosing to lie or lying is a choice, and a choice that will affect who you are as a person. It will ultimately transform you into a person that won't even recognize yourself, much less respect yourself, even worse, the ability to love yourself. And if it's anything that you hold as a value, I know, Thomas, yours is honesty. One of the true tests of integrity is the refusal to compromise your honor at any price. And I think as a human being, when you can get to that level to choose to tell the truth because you are on an authentic journey to yourself. What are you laughing at, Cam? It's above your head. Above your head. It's above your head.
He just realized which triangle is a square.
Look at that.
Keep going.
That was pretty much it. You know,
right.
if you,
I'm gonna break our protocol this week and allow Cam to close our session.
you can't stop laughing.
I had to know you've controlled that well, didn't it? It is up. Santa is real. If you're listening.
We don't have 10-year-olds.
I'm gone. I'm gone. At the end of the day, you're only lying to yourself. It doesn't matter how successful you think you are or aren't. You've still got to go to bed at night. You've still got to crawl into that corner, and you've still got to hug yourself to sleep. And that's the worst bit for anybody on any level. You feel it whether it is about a fish or you feel it whether it is about something really important. And regardless of whether you think you've bluffed everybody else, you still got to cry yourself to sleep at night. So good luck.
What about lying? If you're a family man, what about the lies that you teach your children?
Well, it starts from everything I read said, it said this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, and this will kill you. But it's a key part of development for children, right? We didn't talk about children and children lying, and somewhere along the line, kids go from lying to hopefully not. And there's a path in the woods, and I chose a one, whatever. But we don't all end up as pathological liars, right, or compulsive liars or whatever. So. Is it monkey see, monkey do, or how do your kids know they're lying until they work it out too late in life with it that you were full of it the whole time? But obviously in a relationship, we talk about work and what your friends think of you. Who gives a shit about that? What are you doing to your own family? Like, what are you doing to your own? We went straight from the 20-year-old to people with kids know better. The 20-year-old doesn't have kids, so they're not gonna see. And that's why I brought it up. I wasn't thinking of anyone in particular, but someone doesn't have kids, doesn't have a family, and may not even have a close friend group. What have they got to lose? And trying to convey that is very, very hard. And I know people, when I was 30, I never thought I'd be 40. And if I was 40, I didn't think I'd have 3 kids and a family. And I wasn't too worried about the consequences of too many actions. And that's the bit, because it will, at the end of the day, the word is trust. And once trust is broken, it doesn't matter who it is with. You will never, ever get it back to 100%, ever, ever. And you will always live in some sort of fear. And you will always, and that can't do anything but chew away at you, whether it's a sore little toe, or whether it's cancer, or however it gets you.
All right. Thank you very much, Bernie Brown. Cam, you won this week. Thank you so much. Well done. See you, team.
Send you a bottle, all of you.